Hello everyone and welcome to my first episode on YouTube. I'm your host and today we're diving into a topic that affects us all. Why we actually struggle with failure. Failure, it's a word that can make us all cringe, isn't it really? Whether it's failing a driving test, not landing that job after the interview that you had, watching a business go bankrupt, or actually going through a really tough breakup. Failure comes in many forms and it hits us all in very different ways. Now, I've spent most of my life struggling with failure. Sometimes I think, wouldn't it be really nice if the word didn't exist at all? Growing up, failure always sounded harsh. What instead we said, there's a little hiccup or a bump in the road, or we've just got to jump over that next hurdle. It sounds more manageable and less harsh. But here's the thing, failure for everyone is unavoidable. It's a part of our lives and it can be really challenging. It can be humiliating even, but it's also universal. I hear celebrities talk about all their time in interviews and on podcasts that they discuss their failures, they discuss their setbacks, how deeply it affected them. But there's always one common thread. They all got back up and carried on. So why does failure hit us hard? I mean, no kid says, when I grow up, I want to fail, or I can't wait to make so many mistakes when I get older. I mean, we don't strive for failure, yet it's something each and every one of us experience throughout our lives. I think many of us struggle with failure where it starts at school. And I remember being a kid, not particularly academic, even not now, and dreading tests. The thought of failing and everyone knowing about it was so embarrassing that I'd act like I actually didn't care or try to get out of that test somehow. Failure can really knock everyone's confidence. It plants that tiny seed of doubt about our worth and our abilities, and it can make our goals seem just out of reach. And for some people, it can even make them change their direction or even quit after that single setback or blow. That fear of failing again and again can be so overwhelming, and it can leave us feeling stuck as if our lives are completely over. And it's not just the emotional or mental, it can be actually physical pain that we can feel. Now, I want to share a bit of a story about my personal journey with failure. So for years, I've struggled to even attempt things because I was so afraid of looking stupid, even doing this YouTube. It can be embarrassing. I made excuses and slowly started to hide away. So when I finally got into university at a mature student of 24, I still really struggled. I barely passed my assessments, and some of my lectures made me feel like even that pass wasn't good enough. But you know what? That experience was actually the start of my journey of overcoming my struggle with failure. Don't get me wrong, failure and I aren't best buddies. The little voice of doubt is still there at the back of my head. The fear of humiliating myself or embarrassing my family hasn't completely gone away. But my relationship with failure has definitely improved. I mean, yeah, it has improved. So how can we change how we see failure? How can we learn to embrace it and even at the tough times? And here's a few things that I've learned. So number one, think of a marathon. It's not a 100-meter sprint. So don't give up every time you face an obstacle. Acknowledge every single achievement along the way and keep your eye on that bigger picture. So number two, be patient. I'm the type of person who wants everything yesterday, but I've learned that rushing just to get something done quickly isn't always the best approach. Number three, remember not every single stumble needs to lead to that despair and that regret. Even in the toughest times, there's light at the end of that tunnel and lessons to always be learned. Number four, Try to reduce that negative little chatter in the back of your mind. I know it's easier said than done, but by maintaining that positive mindset and making a huge difference. So number 5, prepare your mentality by confronting each obstacle with grace, courage, and touch of defiance. You'll always be one step ahead of failure. Now, just remember, failure can be disheartening because we tend to see it in a negative light, but we always have the ability to recover from these setbacks. Facing failure is a most common experience. We all go through it, so let's support each other. It's how we respond to it that defines us. So the next time you're faced with failure, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that it's a normal part of life and look for the lessons and opportunities hidden that were within it. You might be surprised of what you actually find. Now, thank you for my new YouTube video. I hope you'd like to subscribe. I hope everything was, I hope you enjoyed it and I didn't make myself too embarrassed or humiliated. So even now with doing videos and everything, it's completely out of my comfort zone, but this is why I'm doing it, to grow and to develop myself. So you've been watching Just Lou. I hope it's something that's helped you. Subscribe, leave your comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you.